GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, I'm CJ Waterhouse. Today we'll honor a fallen Montreal officer at a public memorial and celebrate the 40th anniversary of Midday with over 700 artists taking the stage. Later we'll check on traffic and the forecast. Over to you, Jeff.
The St. Joseph's Day Outdoor Market opens tomorrow on St. Laurent Boulevard, running from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., featuring over 30 local artisans and food stalls.
Live folk music will fill the market's central promenade, with performances by 3 Montreal bands and a children's storytelling corner scheduled each hour beginning at 11 a.m.
Complimentary shuttle buses connect the market to the Guy Concordia metro station, departing every 15 minutes, while limited street parking is available on nearby St. Lawrence side streets.
Lots to get to, let's begin, as we dive into today's news and stories after this vibrant market preview. Good morning, Montreal.
Today the Montreal Police Service will hold a public memorial for Constable Mohamed Lamine Benredouane at the Bell Centre. The ceremony comes after the officer was killed in the line of duty last month, an incident that has resonated across the city. Family members, fellow officers, and city officials are expected to attend, with a moment of silence scheduled before a tribute video and the playing of the national anthem. Police spokesperson said the event is intended to honor Benredouane's dedication and to provide a space for colleagues to reflect on the sacrifice. The memorial will be open to the public, and seating is limited. Organizers have asked attendees to observe appropriate protocol, including the wearing of respectful attire. The service underscores the ongoing commitment of law enforcement personnel to public safety.
Over 700 artists are filling the city's stages as the festival Nuits d'Afrique marks its 40th year. From lively drumming circles in the Plateau to electrifying shows at the Place des Arts, the celebration showcases the best of African and Caribbean sounds. Headliners Almu Sangare and Tyken Jah Fakoly draw crowds nightly, while emerging talents share the spotlight across dozens of venues. Organizers say the marathon of concerts will run through July 19th, turning summer into a non-stop cultural parade. Fans can catch everything from reggae grooves to high-energy soukous, all under the banner of one of Montreal's longest-standing world music festivals. The festival's anniversary underscores its role in connecting diverse communities and keeping the island's music scene vibrant. Local cafes and markets along St. Laurent and St. Denis have extended hours, offering listeners a taste of the rhythms with special menus and dance floor pop-ups.
Orthopedic surgeons at the Centre Hospitalier de l'Université de Montreal have completed a groundbreaking procedure this morning, employing an AI-integrated system to correct a severe spinal curvature in an elderly patient. The technology maps the vertebrae in 3 dimensions, then guides the surgeon's instruments with millimetric precision, reducing the need for repeated adjustments during the operation. Researchers say the approach could lower complication rates as scoliosis becomes more prevalent among seniors, a trend linked to an aging demographic. By combining real-time imaging with machine learning algorithms, the team aims to short recovery time and improve long-term alignment. Hospital officials noted the case marks the first use of the system at CHUM, positioning the center at the forefront of advanced spinal care in the province. Provincial health authorities are monitoring the outcome as part of a broader initiative to integrate artificial intelligence into orthopedic surgery across Quebec.
Earlier today, the Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec announced it will not submit a proposal in response to the Coalition Avenir Québec's call for interest on the province's third link transportation project. The third link, envisioned as a major new crossing to ease congestion, remains under review by the provincial government. CDPQ Infra, the Crown-owned entity that manages existing transit infrastructure, clarified that it has no role in the selection process and therefore will not be a partner. By stepping back, the case signals it sees limited strategic benefit or risk in joining the early-stage study. The CAQ continues to solicit private sector ideas, but the absence of 2 of Quebec's largest institutional investors narrows the pool of potential developers. Officials said the timeline for evaluating proposals will proceed as planned.
Today, the Provincial Domestic Security Ministry announced a province-wide ban on forest access and vehicular traffic throughout northern Quebec, and it widened the prohibition on open fires. The measures respond to several active wildfires that have already scorched thousands of hectares in the region. Officials said the fire risk zones now extend further south, prompting authorities to close all forest roads and restrict any recreational or commercial entry until the situation stabilizes. The expanded open fire ban covers campfires, charcoal grills, and any kind of outdoor ignition, even in designated camping areas. Emergency crews remain on the ground, deploying water-bombing aircraft and ground crews to contain the blazes. Residents in nearby towns have been urged to keep windows closed and to follow evacuation orders if directed. The ministry will review the restrictions daily as conditions evolve.
We'll hear how Quebec is pouring $60 million into sawmills to combat forest crisis. Plus more on streets. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back. I hope you had a chance to stretch. Now let's dive into the headlines. And over to Jeff Laflamme for our local stories.
Quebec's government announced a $60 million investment aimed at diversifying sawmills across the province. The plan responds to a forest crisis that has left timber supplies uneven, and to a 45% tariff imposed by the United States on Canadian lumber. By funding new processing technologies and expanding product lines, the province hopes to keep sawmills operating and preserve jobs that many families rely on for steady income. Officials say the money will be allocated through existing industry programs, targeting facilities that can shift from raw log sales to higher value wood products. The move is intended to cushion the sector from the steep American duties while encouraging sustainable forest management practices. If successful, the strategy could stabilize local economies dependent on timber and reduce the ripple effects of the current market pressure.
An SUV was driven into a family-run jewelry store on Fleury Street just before 2 a.m. yesterday, an apparent robbery attempt that left the storefront damaged but no merchandise taken. Police say 4 male teenagers ages 13 through 18 fled the scene in a second vehicle before being tracked down and arrested later that night. No one was injured, and the SUV used in the crash was abandoned near a residential block where officers located the teenagers. Investigators confirmed that the teens had intended to break in by ramming the shop, then escape with stolen goods, but the plan collapsed when the vehicle struck the glass facade. The owners, who have operated the store for generations, expressed relief that nothing was lost despite the frightening incident. All 4 suspects are now in custody, facing charges related to property damage and attempted theft.
The city's police department has formally asked the municipal authority to postpone a scheduled anti-racism rally. The assembly, originally set for Friday, July 8th, was to take place in the Montreal Nord borough and would have focused on alleged racial bias within the force. Police officials say the delay is needed because a civic funeral for an officer killed on June 22nd is planned for Thursday, the day before the rally. The city spokesperson confirmed the request and indicated that organizers will be consulted on a new date. By moving the protest, authorities aim to avoid overlapping the solemn ceremony with the public demonstration. The postponement leaves activists and residents awaiting a rescheduled time for the gathering. Police officials cited respect for the fallen officer as the primary reason for the request.
Federal, provincial, and city leaders announced a joint investment of $45.5 million to build a new Mason Theatre on the east side. The funding comes from the Government of Canada, the Government of Quebec, and the City of Montreal, with the cultural organization Mason Theatre set to manage the project. Officials said the new venue will add much-needed performance space for local artists and give families a fresh option for live shows without leaving the neighborhood. Construction is slated to begin later this year, creating jobs for workers in the area and boosting the East End's cultural footprint. The partnership reflects a coordinated effort to strengthen the arts scene and provide residents with more accessible entertainment choices close to home. The building is expected to open in the early part of next year, giving the community a modern stage for theater, dance, and music.
CF Montreal is set to host Vancouver FC in the Canadian Championship quarterfinal on Wednesday, July 8. The match will determine which club advances toward the national title and a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League. For fans planning their evening, the game will be played at the Stade Saputo, meaning a short commute for those working downtown or heading home after work. The tournament, Canada's premier soccer competition, draws attention from households that follow the sport alongside their regular routines, from dinner tables to local sports bars. A win would move the team into the semifinals, keeping the city's hopes alive for continental competition. As the teams prepare, local supporters can expect a competitive fixture that could shape the club's schedule for the rest of the season. Ticket holders may enjoy a pre-match fan zone featuring music and food trucks, adding a festive touch to the downtown atmosphere.
Now let's get a quick look at your afternoon forecast with our meteorologist, Jean-Claude.
A deepening high over the St. Lawrence meets a westward jet, setting today's clear, warm profile. The all-time heat mark for this date sits at 33.2 degrees, recorded in 2020 during a blocking ridge that baked the interior of Quebec. The cold extreme is 13.2 degrees, set in 2018 when an Arctic blast slipped south behind a fast-moving low. Our climate normals sit near 26 degrees high and 21 low, so today's warmth is a few degrees above average but well below the record. Those extremes show how the jet stream can flip from a southern ridge to a polar trough within a few years. The live radar screen is utterly clear across the province. No rain echoes are visible, confirming a dry air mass that the high pressure has capped. With the jet stream streaming west at 40 kilometers per hour aloft, any disturbance would be sheared quickly, but none is present. That stable column will drift eastward over the city in the next few hours, keeping the sky cloud free well into the evening. At noon, the city basks under a clear sky with a temperature of 27 degrees, humidity near 48%, and a gentle southeast breeze at 11 kilometers per hour. A high-pressure center dominates, but it is slowly falling, allowing a subtle southerly surge to creep in. Overhead, the jet stream rides westward at 40 kilometers per hour, steering any upper-level disturbances away from the region. The UV index reads 7, and wind will top out at 15 kilometers per hour from the southeast, feeling light. Temperatures climb to a high of 29 degrees by mid-afternoon before easing to 28 as the sun sets around 8:44. No weather alerts are active. Looking ahead, Wednesday brings a high near 30 degrees and a low around 20 degrees, but clouds will blanket the city, ending the clear spell. Thursday stays warm at 29 degrees high, 21 low, with overcast skies and a 30% chance of rain that could bring brief showers in the afternoon. Friday clears again, reaching 28 degrees at peak and dropping to 19 by night, offering a calm, mostly sunny stretch. Saturday mirrors Friday with another clear day, 28 highs and 19 lows, perfect for outdoor activities. Sunday caps the week with a return to 30 degrees at midday, 20 low, and a light drizzle that will linger into the evening, keeping temperatures modest. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic picking up. The Habs are gearing up this summer and will spotlight the Chamber's new initiatives. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Autoroute Quinns remains free through the east-west stretch, with speeds holding steady near 70 kilometers per hour. St. Laurent from Rue Saint-Denis to Rue Peel reports smooth flow and no bottlenecks. The Descaries corridor shows the usual light traffic, and the Ville-Marie tunnel is clear on both directions. Even the commuter bridge to the South Shore is moving without delay. With no incidents on the road network, commuters can expect a typical midday lull to continue. However, the construction crew on Boulevard St. Charles between Rue Saint-Michel and Rue Villeray is slated to begin work this afternoon, which could introduce intermittent lane reductions after 1 o'clock. Likewise, the westbound ramp onto Autoroute Quinns at the Descaries interchange often sees a modest buildup as the evening rush approaches. Overall, today's traffic picture is calm, but keep an eye on those scheduled lane closures later this afternoon.
Montreal's biggest street food celebration rolls back onto the scene this weekend, with more than 40 food trucks gathering for Les Premiers Vendredis and free admission for all. It's the perfect excuse to sample global flavors while the city buzzes with live music. If rain is on the forecast, head downtown to Time Out Market, where a 5-point guide shows why the market is the ultimate shelter, from free kids activities to a surprise Cirque du Soleil showcase. Speaking of the circus, the exclusive Echo exhibition now lives inside the market, letting visitors step behind the curtain and glimpse the magic that never makes it onto the stage. For a taste of Chinatown legend, Dobie and Andy have opened a pop-up inside the market, serving their famed Cantonese barbecue right in the heart of the Eaton Center. Looking ahead, the Fantasia Film Festival celebrates its 30th edition from July 16 through August 2, promising a genre-packed lineup for cinephiles. And now here's Jason with sports.
Summer moves heat up for the Canadiens as the Habs shape their roster. According to Habs Eyes on the Prize, Montreal's front office remains active this summer, having added defenseman Riley Walsh to the roster. The signing reflects the club's continued effort to bolster depth ahead of the upcoming campaign. Habs Eyes on the Prize reports that defenseman Kirby Dach has elected salary arbitration, joining 15 players, including Jason Robertson, who have taken the same route. The move signals the Canadiens' upcoming contract negotiations as the off-season progresses. According to Habs Eyes on the Prize, the partnership between GM Kent Hughes and agent Dan Milstein has yielded new contracts for prospects Ivan Demidov and Jakub Dobish, giving Montreal a solid off-season foundation. The deals underscore the Habs' focus on developing young talent.
Oh My Dear Café on Rue Saint-Denis in the Plateau Montreal has become a beloved spot for coffee, pastries, and neighborhood conversation. Owner Claudia Gamboa says the shop has been robbed and vandalized 3 times in the past year, leaving staff and regulars shaken. She is now urging the city to create a dedicated police unit and expand surveillance to protect small businesses like hers. The cafe's open mic nights and community board have turned it into a cultural hub, so each incident ripples through the street's rhythm. Patrons describe the aroma of fresh espresso and the warm welcome as a refuge that keeps the neighborhood humming. Protecting Oh My Dear means preserving the everyday vibrancy that defines the plateau, and that's why this place matters to Montreal. And later, we'll celebrate the vibrant spirit of the Nuits d'Afrique Festival as over 700 artists light up our city. Stay tuned.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Soulfest launches this weekend at St. James United Church, bringing a burst of Motown, R&B, and gospel straight into old Montreal's historic heart. The festival promises vibrant performances and community spirit that will echo through Rue Saint-Jacques and beyond for all ages. Local talent will share the stage. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks CJ Waterhouse. The festival kicks off on Saturday, July 9, 2026, promising a weekend of soul, Motown, R&B, and gospel. I'm standing on the stone steps of St. James United Church, the summer air humming with bass guitars and the scent of fresh croissants from a nearby vendor. Stained glass windows glint in the morning sun while colorful Soul Fest banners drape across the courtyard. Musicians load vintage amps onto wooden crates, volunteers in bright aprons arrange folding chairs for an audience that will swell into the thousands. Inside, the nave reverberates with rehearsals, sultry Motown riffs, gospel choirs warming up, and a saxophonist coaxing smooth R&B melodies. Community workshop tents promise drum circles and lyric writing sessions for anyone who wants to feel the beat. Nearby, food trucks line the cobblestones, offering spicy jambalaya, maple-glazed donuts, and cold lemonade to keep the crowd refreshed. For many Montrealers, Soul Fest is more than a concert, it's a shared heartbeat that bridges generations. Carl Dumont virtually at St. James United Church.
In the heart of the plateau, beneath the maple-lined boulevard of St. Laurent, a small gathering of colleagues gathered in a sunlit conference room at the headquarters of Santé, Quebec. Christiane Germain, her silver-streaked hair pulled back, stood at the head of the table, smiling at the faces of staff, volunteers, and longtime friends who have walked beside her for the past 2.5 years. She spoke of the first board meeting where a nervous new member fumbled with a stack of reports, and how the team turned that moment into a shared laugh that still echoes in the hallway. That memory, she said, is the reminder that leadership is less about titles and more about the quiet confidence that lifts others. Tonight, after a thoughtful handoff to the incoming president, Christiane will leave the chair but not the community. She will continue to mentor young advocates, attending local health fairs and sharing the stories that inspired her own journey. Montreal's spirit thrives when leaders pass the torch with gratitude, and today we celebrate that gentle, steady hand.
On St. Catherine Street, outside the historic Rialto Theatre, the buzz of the Fantasia Film Festival is palpable as volunteers, filmmakers, and longtime fans gather for the opening night of the 30-year celebration. The marquee glows with neon silhouettes of dragons and spaceships, while the scent of fresh popcorn mingles with the crisp autumn air. Inside, a modest stage hosts a brief tribute. Founder Marc-André Tremblay, now in his 70s, shakes hands with a teenage director whose debut short just earned a standing ovation. The moment captures the festival's promise, an invitation to every corner of imagination, from seasoned veterans to first-time storytellers. Over the next week, 30 days of genre cinema will spill across downtown theaters, pop-up screenings in community centers and midnight showings on the plateau, all united by a shared love of the strange and spectacular. As the crowd files out, the lights dim and a single lantern is lit on the steps, a quiet symbol of the ideas that will keep glowing long after the credits roll. It's a reminder that stories, like the city, grow richer when we share them together.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the lunch break. Today's look at the AI-assisted technology helping Montreal Hospital treat complex scoliosis highlighted how innovation is reshaping care. We appreciate your time, and we'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to our city.